Hey comic book fans, welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0, and fans, you're back with me, Mike Spider Slayer, getting ready to do that all-important comic book review so you, the fans, can make a decision on what comic books to buy. And today, guys, we're talking about Phoenix Resurrection. This is issue number 2. I love the first issue of this series, and it ended with such a cliffhanger by Jean seeing Scott, and you're like, damn. And you were like, I was so hoping to see Scott in this issue. Just to let you know, there are heavy spoilers in this book, so if you have not read your copy yet, please read your copy, then come back and see me, because we're going to talk about this book. This book is written by Matthew Rosenberg, and the artwork is done by Carlos Pacheco, who's the penciler, and the artwork is absolutely gorgeous in here. The characters look great. The pencils, just the coloring, just everything about this book, it just is really a nice looking book. And once again, when I read this book, it really felt like an X title, where you get to see all of the X-Men in general just come together to try to find out what's going on, what the problem is, how to find the missing psychics. It feels like a cohesive mutant X-Men type of title. So, let's talk about this book in depth. So, the one thing that I was hoping to see in this issue was Scott. And I can tell you right now, we did not find Scott in this issue at all. It just left with that cliffhanger that he was supposed to go to, dinner or have dinner with Jean, and that doesn't happen. Because it's like that next night or whatever it is, Jean is sleeping, and the next thing you see is it's a pretty cool image where she's lifting up objects and whatnot, and she just wakes up like possibly having a bad nightmare. So she winds up waking up late, and the cool thing that happens in this book is she's late, she's trying to get to work at her waitressing job, and she runs into Jamie Maddox, and I thought it was so cool, Multiple Man, and she's just like trying to talk to him, and she goes, "Did you feel anything weird last night?" He's like, "I don't know." He's like, "I may be a little weirder than you are, but that's just me." And she's like, it's probably nothing. And you can see she's not herself. You think that it's just like she's sleepy, or she's just going through some issues. She leaves her coffee on the car and whatnot. And so the book does a nice job at going back and forth with the X-Men on trying to figure out what's going on, because they saw the Phoenix. All the psychics are missing or out of commission, and they're trying to find their missing comrades. And this goes back and forth. So one page you go from Jean, the other page you go to the X-Men. I can honestly tell you the truth, I almost didn't care about the missing psychics. All I cared about was the Jean Grey moments. So we get to see Jean. She's in her actual, diner, and she's working. And then she comes across a patron that's there. And she comes across him, and she asks him what he wants for breakfast. And it's Eric, which is Magneto. And he's in a different form. And you're like, dude, that's cool, right? And so she asks him what he wants for breakfast. So there's more Easter eggs in here. So she sits there, and she goes, so what do you want, the Claremont? And he's like, no, not him. And she's like, so you want the Lumberjack? And he's like, yeah, the Lumberjack. And so that's a reference to Wolverine. The Claremont is the Chris Claremont, who was the originator of, the all-new X-Men, or the giant-sized X-Men and stuff like that, longtime writer. And I thought that was so cool. And so, again, you see now it flips back to actual Cable and all the X-Men, and they're trying to find out their psychics. Cable goes to Cerebro. He gets fried. He's gone. So now literally all their psychics are out of commission. So what happens is Jean is explaining what's going on. She's trying to find out. She doesn't feel weird. And she feels weird, and there's all kinds of things going on. And there's another name dropped by Dr. McTaggart on here, another X-Men character, which I thought was kind of cool in here as well, and how she's not feeling well. Maybe you should see the doctor. And she mentions Scott in here, and she's like, it's almost like I didn't even remember him when I saw him. So really quite weird in here. So now the X-Men are like, okay, now we got to find the missing psychics. We gotta find out what's going on with the Phoenix. And so they break up into teams once again, very similar to the last issue. So we see Kitty's team, we see the blue team, the black team, the silver team. So there's all these different teams. The one team is Iceman's team, who, it's funny, he's had some good character moments in here. He comes across Magneto in here. And they're like, hey, are we cool? Because, you know, last time we thought that they're friends. The developing thing in this issue is we wind up seeing Magneto going back and forth between the realities. Jean Grey's reality and real-time reality, like where the X-Men are at right now. And the X-Men are like, dude, did you just see Magneto order like a cup of coffee? Because then when you go back into Jean Grey's world, you see Magneto sitting there on the booth and he starts bleeding like he's doing battle in the X-Men's reality. So weird, so crazy, so cool though, at the same time. I really enjoyed it. And when he comes back and talks to Jean Grey, there's this image of the Phoenix out in Horizon burning down Jean Grey's town. So really weird stuff here. So, really great book. I really loved it. Even though in some ways it was similar when it came to the X-Men team, I really didn't pay attention to them all as much as maybe I should have. Until you got to that Magneto moment. All I cared about was the Jean Grey things on how her reality is right now, how this other afterlife is for her or whatnot, and just seeing her experience her life in there and slowly maybe transitioning and going into the real world again is just quite interesting, and seeing how her past is still there, but they're in other ways. It's so awesome. I just find myself so infatuated by this book. I really enjoyed this book. And I love seeing Jean Grey again, and the artwork was really good. I just wish there was a little bit more story progression for me. There wasn't enough. I just want to see more and read it all at one time. So I had a blast with this book. I'm going to give this one a 4.5 out of 5 stars, maybe 4.25. Between there, just because I felt like there just wasn't enough story progression. It was more standing around with the X team, but it's those Jean Grey moments that make it for me. So guys, in the comments below, tell me what you thought of Phoenix Resurrection issue number 2. Were you a fan? Were you not a fan? Are you anxious for Jean Grey to make her official return? And fans, as always, thank you so much for watching Comic Book Corner 2.0. Until that next comic book review, don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. And fans, I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.